Good afternoon. My name is Matt Hall, and today we are talking about expectancy violations theory. This is chapter 7 from our textbook. So, what is expectancy violation theory? We are told by Griffin from our textbook, printed in 2012, that expectancy violation theory is a theory that looks into how individuals respond to unanticipated violations of social norms. The core of this theory starts with the establishment of personal space. So, what is personal space? The developer of this theory, Burgoon, as best as I can tell by the pronouncements I found on the internet, defines personal space as invisible variable volume of space surrounding an individual that defines that individual's preferred distance from others. So this is very objective. It can change from person to person. We are told that is the definition that comes from our textbook, Griffin 2012. So when thinking about the theory of personal space or this idea, we also need to be reminded of proxemics, which is the study of people's use of space as a special elaborator of culture. That, of course, also comes from our textbook, Griffin 2012. So proxemics is broken down into 4 types. Intimate distance, as you can see on the screen, can be anywhere from 0 to 18 inches. Personal distance being 18 inches to 4 foot. Social distance, what a fun term that many of us know now, 4 foot to 10 feet. And public distance, 10 feet to infinity. So this helps us set the framework for the expectancy violation theory, as it offers a counterpart to these norms. So the core concepts of EVT: expectancy, violation variance, communicator reward variance, interaction, adaptation, and adjustment expectations. So let's get looking at these core concepts a little deeper. Expectancy, that is simply what people predict will happen rather than what they desire. If I walk outside and I see that it is overcast and there are dark clouds in the sky, I expect it to rain, even though I probably desire it to be nice and pretty enough for me to mow after I get off work today. Influence on expectancy can be context, relationship, and communicator characteristics. And that, of course, comes from our textbook, Griffin 2012. So let's move on to violation variance. Violation variance is the perceived positive or negative value assigned to a breach of expectations, regardless of who the violator is. In short, the question is the act pleasing or distressing? And of course, this changes with different levels of knowing someone, different levels of intimacy, different levels of comfortability. I can be very comfortable with a significant other close to me, while I can be disturbed by someone I barely know being too close to me. So let's move on to the next one. Communicator reward variance. Communicator reward variance is the sum of positive and negative attributes brought to the encounter, plus the potential to reward or punish in the future. That definition is from our textbook, Griffin 2012. So in short, this idea is simply saying that we have an aggregate in our interactions with people. We have positive experiences and negative experiences, and we allow that to change and influence the way in which we feel with people. The more positive ones, this can become a sliding scale and we can become much more comfortable with someone. The more negative ones, the further they get away from reaching that intimate space, so to say. So let's move on to the last core concept, Interaction adaptation, or adjustment expectations. This is a systematic analysis of how people adjust their approach when another's behavior doesn't mesh with what's needed, anticipated, or preferred. That, of course, comes from our textbook, Griffin 2012. This idea is simply a way of looking at how, when people interact with us in a way that we don't appreciate or don't feel comfortable with, it can be based on what is needed at the time, what we anticipated, or what we preferred. The needs can simply be, if someone sees me crying, what I don't always need is for somebody to come up and say, chin up, don't be a wuss, or something like that. Or if they see me crying, I might anticipate comforting words. Or I might just prefer a hug, depending on who that is. So this interaction adaptation allows us to look systematically at this approach and the interactions that follow. In conclusion, when looking at the EVT, it is important to understand the fluidity of the theory based on social norm standards in different places. To quote my grandmother, what might seem right in the mountains probably won't work in the cities. So thank you for being with me today. Have a great evening.